Welcome back. Let's face it, unless you are very well off, maybe have a benefactor, you get a full scholarship, you're going to wind up paying a pretty penny for college. Say maybe 200 grand for a 4-year education. The only thing that costs more these days, a house. Here now to talk college saving strategy is Ian Wellham, certified college funding advisor, co-founder of Complete College Planning Solutions in Springfield. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you being here. Let's talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that parents can make when saving for college. Let's start with believing that they'll just get the loans.
Yes, that's probably the biggest mistake. They just believe somehow that they don't have to save for college and that they're just going to get through it without having any problems.
How is it that people just think that they're going to get the loans? Is it because they hear on the news or they do a lot of reading and they just hear, okay, you know, there are loans out there?
Probably most of the time because they don't really do the research up front properly.
Okay.
And then they tend to put things in the kids' names instead of keeping it in their own.
All right, so you say put things in the kids' names. They're just putting a bulk of money? Is that what we're talking about? Putting way too much money in the kids' names then, and then all of a sudden when it comes down to applying for loans, if they are applying for loans, they say, you can't qualify for this.
Exactly. That's basically the problem. Every time you put a dollar in the kid's name, it's going to count against them for financial aid.
And not taking advantage of the college aid system. So talk about that a little bit. What is it the parents are doing wrong?
Often they're not taking advantage of it because they actually don't fill out the forms to get access to the financial aid itself.
How about the biggest mistakes when it comes to planning? Now, planning and saving in this instance are completely different.
Yes, they are. But I think that we've got to go back to the first one. If they don't fill out the financial aid forms, then you're not going to get access to all that government money. And most New Jersey families don't think about that early enough, and some of them don't fill it out at all.
In some ways, I think filling out the forms, it's one of these tasks that people put off. They put it off, or they're intimidated by it, yes?
Oh, they are intimidated by it. And that's why there are professionals who can help them. But really, the FAFSA form, that's the free application for federal student aid, has been made easier now by the Obama administration. And so you shouldn't feel intimidated by the forms.
However, many people do feel intimidated by how much college costs when it comes to the sticker price. There is a great deal of sticker shock, but that also keeps people from looking at specific colleges.
Yes, most people approach this in the wrong way. They do look at the sticker price. If you understand the system properly, you can actually pay a lot less for college just by understanding the system.
Now, kids work. Kids start working in high school. A lot of parents say, go, get out, make some money.
Yes, sure.
Big mistake to allow your child to make too much money before college, yes?
Yeah. This is one of those things that the parents are not going to like very much. The kids are going to love it. Yeah. Don't let your kid make too much money in the year before they go to college. $3,700 is about the maximum amount they should make.
Talk about sending your child to a top-tier private school. People think about this. They say, oh, listen, the only way we're going to be able to afford this is if we get a major grant or if our child's on full scholarship. Otherwise, out of the picture. But you're saying that you can actually afford a top-tier school, maybe for less than a public?
In certain cases, that's absolutely true. This is like shopping for college. You've got to look at the big picture. You don't just want to look at the sticker price. If you focus on schools which have a historical track record of paying for college, providing financial aid, a substantial amount of financial aid, it's a little bit like if you're going on a trip and you buy an airline ticket. Everybody on the planes paid a different price for that airline ticket. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to focus on those lower price tickets for college.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Send boys to girls' schools and vice versa.
Oh yeah, you got to play the gender card whenever you can.
Okay, talk about that a little bit because parents at home are probably scratching their heads a little bit on this one.
Let's say you have a boy. And most of the colleges now, in fact, the average undergraduate population is 57% girls. So if you send your boy to a school which is predominantly girls, and there are many of them in Jersey, like Drew and Seton Hall.
You know, a lot of boys would probably like that, too.
Well, some boys, but apparently there's an intimidation factor in it actually starts to put them off. But if you do go there, you're likely to get help from the school because they want to encourage boys to come.
Okay, so we're talking about maybe thinking out of the box a little bit. But how do you find the correct fit? What do you have to do to just to sit down and kind of make your pros and cons list, figure out what the correct fit is?
Let's look at it from an academic perspective. You want to make sure that you're in the top 20 or 25% of the kids going into that college. Why do you want to do that? Well, there's two basic reasons for that. One is because you want to be academically comfortable. You want to be in your comfort zone. After all, what's the main purpose? When you go to college, you've got to finish and you've got to do well. And secondly, if you're in that top 20 or 25%, you're likely to get some of that all-important merit aid. And guess what? That's going to reduce the cost of college.
At what point should a parent start saving for college, or start planning and then saving?
Well, clearly you should start saving as early as possible. You know, many families do start when their kids are very young, even infants. But the serious part of the planning tends to come once you're in the high school years, early high school years. That's when you really need to be proactive.
High school years, starting to really be proactive that late in the game, it makes me sweat when I think about it. I've got two young boys, and you know, one's just about 20 months, the other one is 4.5 years old, and I'm already starting to think about how I'm ever going to be able to afford what college is going to cost down the road.
Right. Yeah, well, in this particular case, there's a good example. You are being proactive, you're thinking ahead. But there are two elements. There's the financial element, and then there's also finding the best fit college for your kids. Now, realistically, you can't get to that until they're in high school, but that's equally important in terms of the price and how much you're going to pay.
How do you get aid for your son, daughter, if they're a B student? What's the best way to do that?
Well, this is a great question, because what colleges are looking for is a match between their mission and the kids themselves. So let's say you have a kid who is maybe a B student in English and languages, but maybe they're an A+ student in biology. Then you want to look for colleges which is having a great push in the science area.
Okay. Ian, we're going to have to leave it right there. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great meeting you. Some great advice, great information. Appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions or comments about anything in today's show, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news12.com. We'll be right back right after this.